The rain came down in sheets that evening, painting the city in smudged strokes of gray. Each drop that struck the pavement sounded like a ticking clock, louder, faster, urgent. Inside the golden-lit dining hall of Maison du Luxe, laughter echoed like bells, glasses clinked, and the aroma of truffle risotto drifted through the air. In the corner of the opulent restaurant, hidden behind the polished swing doors, 22-year-old Daniel Okizi, in a crisp but threadbare uniform, stood quietly. His shoes were soaked from his walk to work. His fingers trembled, not from fear, but from something else, something deeper. Outside the back alley of the restaurant, a pair of eyes watched the glimmer of light spill from the kitchen vents. A little boy, no older than 7, pressed his face against the cold steel dumpster, shivering. Daniel had seen him before, many times, always at closing, always silent, always hungry. But tonight was different. As the last guest left, Daniel moved through the kitchen like a ghost. The head chef, Monsieur Laurent, barked orders, instructing the other staff to throw away untouched platters. "Don't you dare touch the leftovers, Daniel," barked the sous chef, eyeing him sharply. "House policy. You know the rules." Daniel nodded slowly, watching trays of uneaten filet mignon, roasted lamb, and garlic bread get dumped into trash bags. It stabbed at his heart like glass. His gaze drifted to the window again. The boy was still there, barefoot, lips trembling, eyes hollow. He reminded Daniel of someone. His little brother, Chuka. "It's just one plate," Daniel told himself. Just one. He waited until the kitchen was empty. Then, with hands that shook both from adrenaline and defiance, he picked a half-eaten steak, some bread, and potatoes. He wrapped them gently, placed them in a clean paper bag, and slipped through the back door. "Here," he whispered to the boy. "Eat. Don't say a word. Just eat." The boy's eyes widened like he'd just seen a miracle. "Thank you, sir," he whispered. "I haven't eaten in 2 days." "Daniel!" The scream hit like thunder. He turned, startled to see the restaurant manager, Mrs. Tabitha, standing by the door, arms crossed, face cold as stone. Behind her, Monsieur Laurent glared, veins bulging. "You stole food," she hissed. "No, ma'am. It was going to be thrown away. He was hungry." "Save your excuses," Tabitha spat. "Pack your things. You're fired. Immediately." But Daniel began, but her hand shot up. "You think you're some kind of hero? You broke company policy. That food is our property, whether it's on a plate or in a bin." "But it's trash." "It's ours," she said, final. "Go." The boy had disappeared into the night, and Daniel, he stood alone, drenched in both rain and shame, watching as the restaurant door slammed shut behind him forever. The days that followed were cruel. Daniel searched for work, but no one wanted a fired waiter with no references. He skipped meals, sold his phone, and eventually his shoes. He moved into an abandoned kiosk at the edge of town, covering himself with rags to fight the cold. He thought about his brother often. Chuka had died 5 years ago, malnutrition, a preventable death. It was what had driven Daniel to move to the city, to work hard to survive. Now, he was right back where he started. One afternoon, curled behind the kiosk wall, he heard a voice. "Sir, are you okay?" His eyes fluttered open, a familiar face, those same wide, hollow eyes. It was the boy. But this time, he wasn't alone. Beside him stood a woman in a sleek coat, her face striking, eyes piercing. She knelt beside Daniel, placed a hand on his chest. "You gave my son food," she said softly. Daniel blinked. He was hungry. She smiled. "And you risked everything for him." "I lost everything for him." "Not everything," she replied. "My name is Amara Okoye," she said, CEO of the Okoye Foundation for Child Welfare. "I've spent millions trying to help children like him, but that night, he slipped past his minder. I didn't know where he went." She looked at the boy and smiled gently. "And you, a stranger, gave him what he needed when the world didn't care." Daniel sat up, confused. Why are you here?" Amara stood, then offered her hand. "I've been looking for you. When my son returned, he kept asking, 'Where is the kind man?' The one with the food. So I traced the restaurant, spoke to a cleaner, found your name, asked around, and now, here we are." "I don't understand," Daniel whispered. "I want to offer you a job, not as a waiter," she said with a gentle laugh, "but as a coordinator. In our shelter program, you'll help children like him, like your brother." His lips trembled. "I don't know what to say." "Say yes." 3 months later, Daniel stood tall in a neat suit, speaking at a fundraising gala hosted by the Okoye Foundation. He shared his story, not to shame the restaurant, but to show what kindness can cost and what it can earn. Meanwhile, back at Maison du Luxe, things had changed. Videos of the confrontation captured by a kitchen intern and leaked online had gone viral. Public outrage had rained down on the restaurant like fire. Reviews plummeted. Customers disappeared. A formal apology was issued. Too late. Daniel? He was now known as the waiter with a heart. NGOs reached out. Invitations speak followed. The boy Timmy never left his side again. Daniel called him little brother. Because in a way, he was. But just as life began to look brighter, something strange happened. One night, Daniel returned to his new apartment and found an envelope on his doorstep. It was unmarked, sealed tightly. Inside was a single photograph. Daniel stared at it, heart racing. It was a blurry picture of his real younger brother, Chuka, alive, and standing beside a man Daniel recognized. Monsieur Laurent. There was no note, no explanation, just a single line scribbled at the bottom. Not everything is what it seems. Daniel's hands trembled. Was Chuka alive? Was his death a lie? Why was Laurent involved? Who had sent the photo? And more importantly, why now? And just like that, everything Daniel believed began to crumble. What would you do if you found out the brother you buried was never really dead? Let me know what you would have done in Daniel's shoes. And tell me, the wind was colder that night. The streets of Midtown buzzed like always. Honking taxis, laughter from rooftop bars, neon lights painting puddles on the sidewalk. But for Noah, every sound felt distant, like he was watching life from behind a glass wall. Fired, humiliated, abandoned. He hadn't told his mother yet. What would he say? That he gave a little boy some food and lost his only job? He sat on the same corner bench outside the restaurant where he had once proudly worn his black apron. In the trash beside him, he could see untouched breadsticks and half-eaten meals thrown out. Ironically, the same food he had given to Liam, the barefoot boy with sunken eyes. And yet, the cold bench and a warning letter had been his reward. He scrolled through his phone, no new messages, no missed calls. Then he remembered.
That woman.
The one with the silk scarf and sharp eyes. She had watched everything. She had slipped him her card. With trembling fingers, he pulled it from his wallet. A white card with embossed gold letters. Evelyn March, founder, March Foundation. Where kindness is currency. 2 days later, Noah stood in front of a glass building. March Foundation, tall, modern, yet unusually quiet. He wore his only formal shirt, tucked into jeans. He brushed his shoes until they shone like they once had when he served guests. The receptionist smiled warmly. You must be Noah. Miss March is expecting you. Expecting him? He was led into a large office filled with sunlight and the smell of cinnamon. Books lined the shelves and photos of smiling children were framed beside medals and plaques. At the desk, Evelyn sat calm, commanding, and graceful. Noah, she said, standing. I've been waiting. He swallowed hard. Ma'am, I didn't expect that you'd be seen, she finished for him, that your act of kindness would matter. He nodded slowly. She walked over and handed him a tablet. This is Liam, she said. His mother died 2 years ago. His father is missing. He's lived in shelters, sometimes under bridges. He's seven, Noah. And you were the first adult in weeks to treat him like a human. Noah stared at the screen. Liam was smiling in the photo, teeth missing but joy radiant. It made his heart ache. I founded this foundation after I lost my son to pneumonia in a low-income shelter, Evelyn said quietly. He was 7, too. The room fell silent. Even the traffic below seemed to hush. I created a program, she continued. It's called Second Shift. We partner with restaurants and cafes. Instead of throwing food away, they allow our volunteers to distribute it to the homeless and children like Liam. Noah's eyes widened. That's incredible. It is, she said, and I want you to join us. His heart stopped. Me? She nodded. You understand the weight of compassion? I've already spoken to a few of our partners. You'll manage one of our food redistribution hubs, salary included. Noah didn't speak. He couldn't. His chest was so full it hurt. But there's more, Evelyn said, her voice low. Liam. He ran away from the shelter last night. He's missing. What? Noah shot up. When? Where? Downtown, near the rail tracks. Noah grabbed his coat. I'm going. Evelyn smiled, eyes glinting. That's exactly why I chose you. Hours later, The rail yards were no place for a child. Sharp metal, rusting debris, the scent of oil and hay. Noah searched frantically, flashlight flickering in the dark. "Liam," he called. "It's me, Noah." No response. Only the sound of rats scurrying and distant trains.
Then, a whisper.
"Noah?" He turned! There, in the shadow of a broken cargo train, was Liam curled up, clutching something tightly. Noah ran to him. "Liam, are you hurt?" The boy shook his head, eyes wet. "They were gonna take my teddy. I didn't want them to. It's the only thing Mama gave me." Noah gently wrapped his jacket around the boy. "No one's taking anything, buddy. I'm here now." As he carried Liam out, the boy mumbled, "You came back for me. Always." The next day, photos of Noah holding Liam wrapped in a blanket went viral. "Fired for kindness, hired for compassion," the headlines read. His story spread like wildfire. Donations poured in for the March Foundation. Celebrities reposted his photo. Influencers shared his quote, "Kindness isn't weakness, it's strength in its purest form." Noah felt like he was in a dream. The same man who was thrown out for helping now had an entire movement behind him. But life always hides another card. 3 weeks later, Liam had started school. He laughed more now, though his nightmares hadn't stopped completely. Noah became his guardian temporarily. They were bonding, even building pillow forts and sharing late-night cereal. One evening, Liam sat beside Noah, holding his old teddy. "Did you know," he said suddenly, "the man who took Mama had the same necklace as yours?" Noah froze. "What?" Liam pointed. "That necklace. The one with the cross and broken feather." Noah blinked. It was a gift from his father, someone he never knew. His mother said he disappeared before Noah was born. The only thing left behind was that necklace. "Are you sure, Liam?" The boy nodded. A chill crept up Noah's spine. His fingers tightened around the chain. The man who took Liam's mother might be his father. Or worse, someone Noah thought was long gone, but wasn't. At midnight, Noah opened the old shoebox under his bed. Letters, photos, memories. He stared at a faded picture of a young man wearing the same necklace. Beside it, a torn note with the name, Carter R. Huxley. He'd never looked him up, until now. Noah sat at his laptop, heart pounding, typing the name. And then the screen loaded. A police file. Wanted, Carter Ray Huxley. Charges, human trafficking, child abduction, murder. Noah felt the floor shift beneath him. His hands shook. Then, a loud knock at the door. He stood slowly. Another knock, harder this time. Through the peephole, a man in a dark coat, face obscured. A whisper through the door. "Noah, we need to talk. It's about your father." The knock echoed through the small apartment like a hammer cracking glass. Noah's body tensed, still crouched beside his open laptop. On the screen glared the face of Carter Ray Huxley, his father, a man he had never met and now knew was wanted for human trafficking, child abduction, and murder. Another knock. This time, slower, measured. "Noah," came the voice again. Calm, deep, and unfamiliar. "I'm not here to hurt you." Noah crept toward the door, silent, heart hammering like a drum. He peeked through the peephole. A man in his late 50s stood there, tall, wearing a long black trench coat, fedora pulled low. His face was aged but sharp, like a chisel had carved every regret and secret into his skin. And then, "Daddy," a small voice whispered behind Noah. "Liam." Noah turned sharply. "No, Liam," he whispered. "Go to your room. Now." But that voice. "I remember it," Liam insisted, holding his teddy tighter. Noah didn't move. The world tilted. Was this Carter? Could it really be? He opened the door just a crack. The man looked up, eyes scanning Noah's face. "You look like her," the man said. Noah froze. "Who are you?" A pause. "I'm not Carter," the man said, "but I know who he is. I worked with him. I know what he did and what he's planning to do next." 10 minutes later, they sat across from each other. The man introduced himself as Detective Elias Monroe, retired once with the Chicago PD's Missing Persons Unit. He placed a worn leather file on the table and opened it. Photos, names, maps, surveillance, all tied to one man, Carter Huxley. "Your father disappeared in 1998 after a failed trafficking bust," Monroe explained. "We thought he died in a fire, but some of us, we knew better." He pulled out a photo of Carter, laughing with a child in his arms. "This boy was never found. We believe it was Liam." Noah's heart dropped. Liam? But he's only 7. He was kidnapped twice, Monroe said. Once as a toddler, then released under mysterious circumstances. His mother tried to hide him, change names, locations, but Carter always finds what he wants. Noah looked toward Liam's room, door shut. Why would he want Liam? Monroe's eyes darkened. Because Liam isn't just another victim, Noah, he's evidence. The key to exposing a ring Carter helped build. Noah's throat tightened. Then he's still out there. Oh, he's very much alive, and if he finds out Liam is with you, Monroe's voice lowered, he'll come for you both. Later that night, Noah couldn't sleep. He stood at Liam's door, watching the boy sleep peacefully, one arm around his threadbare teddy. He thought of Evelyn, of the March Foundation, of how everything had changed so quickly. He was just a waiter. Now he was a guardian, and maybe the son of a monster. He walked back to the living room. The file lay open on the table. In the back was a handwritten note. If he ever contacts you, look inside the bear. E.M. What? Noah blinked. The bear? He rushed to Liam's room. Sorry, buddy, he whispered, lifting the teddy from the boy's arms. He felt around it, soft stuffing, a stitched eye, and then a hard lump. Noah's eyes widened. He ran to the kitchen, grabbed a seam ripper, and carefully cut open the lining. Inside, wrapped in thin plastic, was a micro SD card. He slid it into his laptop. A folder opened. Project Threshold, audio logs and files. There were dozens videos, recordings, pictures, children in holding rooms, shadowy figures exchanging money, even Carter's voice. Threshold isn't about moving product, it's about making sure no one talks. And if they do, they disappear. Noah covered his mouth. Oh my God, this could expose everything. All of it. But just as he clicked a video, the screen went black. Noah's heart skipped. System error, the message blinked. Remote access initiated. What? No. A chat window opened. Unknown user. You should not have opened that, Noah. Noah backed away from the laptop. Another message popped up. Unknown user. Liam isn't yours. He's mine. You have... The room went dark. Outside, a black car idled at the corner. Inside, Liam stirred in his sleep, mumbling one word softly, Daddy. Rain poured like a curtain over the city, the streets gleaming with ghostly reflections as thunder grumbled in the distance. Inside the cramped apartment, Noah paced, his hands trembling as he reread the final message on his now disabled laptop screen. Liam isn't yours, he's mine. You have 40... The SD card had self-erased moments later, leaving nothing but an empty shell of evidence and a gnawing terror in Noah's chest. He couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. Every creak of the floorboard made his spine stiffen. Every passing car outside made his fists clench. This wasn't just paranoia. Someone had eyes on him. 6:14 a.m. Liam blinked awake, rubbing his eyes, yawning. Noah? He mumbled. Noah turned from the window, trying to smile, but it barely held. Hey, champ, we're going on a little trip today, okay? Liam tilted his head. Another soup kitchen? No. Somewhere safer. They packed quickly, just essentials. A few clothes, Liam's teddy now stitched back up, secret removed, and cash Monroe had slipped Noah the night before. Don't trust cards, Monroe had warned. If he's watching, he'll trace every swipe. Before leaving, Noah stopped by the March Foundation. He needed to talk to Evelyn, to tell her the truth, but her office was closed, the blinds drawn. A notice hung crookedly on the door. Closed until further notice. His chest sank. Noah pulled out his phone and tried to call her. Straight to voicemail. As they walked back toward the bus station, Liam suddenly tugged his hand. Noah, look. Across the street, parked just beyond the intersection, sat a black SUV, tinted windows, engine idling, the same one, the same from last night. Noah didn't hesitate. Run. They took off into the alley, dodging puddles, trash cans, the city blurring around them. Liam clung to his hand, panting, struggling to keep up. Noah didn't stop until they were in the back lot of a closed grocery store, both of them gasping for breath. I'm scared, Liam whispered. I know, buddy. I know. Noah knelt and hugged him tightly. But I promise, I won't let anything happen to you. He looked around. For a moment, just silence. Then, freeze! The shout came from behind. Noah spun around, shielding Liam. Two men in suits approached, badges flashing. FBI, one barked, Noah Taylor, you need to come with us, now. 20 minutes later, Noah sat in a cold, white interrogation room. Liam had been taken to a separate space for safety. Noah's fists clenched at the memory of him crying as they were separated. The door opened, and in walked a woman in a sleek black suit, dark lipstick, and hair in a tight bun. She sat across from him, placing a thick file on the table. "Noah Taylor," she said, voice cool as glass. "You've been a busy man." "Where's Liam?" he snapped. "Safe," she replied. "For now." She opened the file. "Let's talk about Carter Huxley." Noah's eyes narrowed. "What do you know?" "We've been hunting him for 15 years, she said, "but every time we get close, someone disappears or ends up dead." She leaned forward. "The SD card you found was the closest we've ever gotten." Noah's voice cracked. "It's gone. Deleted itself." "Of course it did," she said, folding her arms. "Carter's not stupid, but what you saw, even fragments, could help." She slid over a photo. It was Evelyn, head of the March Foundation, smiling, her arm around Carter. Noah's breath caught. "What is this?" "That's from a fundraiser in 2012, the agent said. "We've long suspected she was involved in laundering the foundation's donations." Noah shook his head. "No, Evelyn wouldn't. She saved Liam. She gave me this job. Or she needed someone naive to play hero," the agent cut in. "Someone who wouldn't ask questions." The room spun, everything he believed unraveling. "And your mother," the agent added, flipping a page. Noah's heart skipped. What about her?" "Her name was Elise Monroe. Worked for Child Protective Services before she vanished in 1997. She was investigating Carter." She slid over another photo. Noah stared at it. It was his mother standing beside Detective Elias Monroe. "She was Elias's daughter," he whispered. "Yes," the agent said. "He disappeared after you spoke. And now he's off-grid. We believe Carter's made contact." Noah stood abruptly. "I need to see Liam. We have to go." The agent didn't move. "He's gone." Noah froze. "What?" "He vanished 10 minutes ago," she said, pulling a tablet from her bag. "Security footage shows him walking out the back door, alone." Noah's heart raced. "No, he wouldn't leave me." The agent's face hardened. "Someone lured him out, and we think we know who." She tapped the screen. A still image appeared. Liam holding hands with a woman. Face partially hidden by a scarf, but unmistakable. Evelyn. Far from the city in a remote lodge surrounded by pine trees, Liam sat on a plush couch beside a roaring fire. Evelyn knelt beside him, stroking his hair gently. There, she cooed. "We're going home soon." "Will Noah be there?" Liam asked, his voice small. Evelyn smiled softly. "No, sweetheart, but your real family will." She turned to the man entering the room, and for the first time, Liam's lips trembled in recognition. "Daddy!" The early morning sun cast a faint golden hue over the dense forest surrounding the remote lodge. Birds chirped, wind rustled through pine trees. It would have been serene if not for the sharp ache in Noah's chest. He stood outside the federal safe house, fists clenched, eyes fixed on the agent who had just delivered the most gut-wrenching news of his life. "Ellen has Liam," she repeated. "We believe she's taking him to Carter." Noah's voice cracked. "You let him go." "No," the agent replied. "We let our guard down. He was groomed to trust her. She knew exactly how to lure him away." Noah's mind raced with memories. Evelyn's warm smile, the way she doted on Liam like a grandmother. Her voice filled with empathy every time she spoke about the poor. How could he have missed the signs? "How do we find them?" he asked, stepping closer. "We're already trying to track the lodge's location based on satellite movement and facial recognition. But Carter has dozens of properties. She could be taking him to any one." Noah's voice dropped. "Then I'll go to the one I know." The agent's brow furrowed. "You're not authorized." "I wasn't authorized to feed a hungry child either," he snapped. "That didn't stop me." She hesitated, then handed him a photo. "I hope you're ready to see people for who they really are, Noah. Including your mother." Back in the lodge, Liam sat quietly at a long oak dining table. The air smelled of cedarwood and something faintly sweet. Evelyn poured him warm milk, humming softly. Across the room, Carter Huxley watched from behind dark glasses. Tall, commanding, wearing an expensive cashmere coat. He hadn't said much yet, just studied Liam. "You're a strong boy," Carter finally said, "just like your mother." Liam blinked. "My mom?" Evelyn placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "It's time we told you the truth, darling." She pulled out a small leather-bound journal and set it before him. "This belonged to your mother," she said softly. "Her name was Amara. She worked with us until the world turned against her." Liam opened the book slowly. Drawings of flowers, letters written in shaky cursive. A sketch of a baby boy. Carter leaned down. She didn't die in an accident, Liam. She was taken by the same people Noah works with now. Liam's lip trembled. Noah would never... He doesn't even know, Evelyn whispered. He was fed lies too. Carter nodded. But you? You can change everything. You have her blood. My blood. Liam's eyes widened. You're my dad? Evelyn smiled. Yes, sweetheart. And your real journey is just beginning. Meanwhile, Noah drove through back roads in a beat-up van borrowed from the FBI. His hands trembled on the wheel. The lodge Evelyn once casually mentioned during a holiday dinner came to mind, a healing retreat in the woods north of the city. That had to be it. He pulled over and opened the photo the agent had given him. It was of his mother, Elise Monroe, cradling a newborn. The baby had a tiny bracelet labeled Liam. Noah's breath hitched. That can't be. He flipped it over. There, written in faded ink, for Carter. May this one never know the sins of his father. No, he whispered. She gave Liam to Carter? Everything he thought he knew shattered. Back at the lodge, Carter stood by a hidden vault behind a bookcase. Evelyn, he said, it's time. She turned to Liam. Do you trust me? Liam hesitated, then nodded. She led him into a dark room lined with monitors. Live surveillance feeds, including one of the March Foundation, another of a familiar soup kitchen, and one of Noah exiting his van just beyond the tree line. Carter smirked. He's here. Evelyn's tone dropped. Then we have no choice. She pressed a red button on the wall. Sirens began to wail. Steel doors slammed down over the windows. Liam flinched. What's happening?
Carter knelt before him. You're about to choose, Liam, between a man who lied to you and the father who's offering you the truth.
But Noah loves me, Liam said. Carter stood, voice cold. Love won't save you from what's coming. Outside, Noah pushed through thickets, heart pounding. The lodge loomed in the distance. He spotted movement in the window. Liam. And then, gunfire. A warning shot hit a tree inches from his face. 2 armed guards stepped out from the shadows. You shouldn't have come here, Noah. He raised his hands, breath shaking. I'm not leaving without Liam. They looked at each other and then let him pass. Carter wants to see you. As Noah walked through the lodge doors, he heard Liam's voice echoing faintly down the hallway. Noah, Noah! But before he could respond, the floor beneath him opened. He fell into darkness. The last thing he saw before blacking out was Evelyn's face. Tear-streaked, murmuring, I'm sorry. The basement was cold, too cold. Noah stirred, groaning as he lifted his head off the concrete floor. His wrists ached. Handcuffed, a single flickering bulb dangled above him, casting shadows that danced like ghosts on the wall. Footsteps echoed down the stairs, slow, deliberate. Then she appeared, Evelyn, holding a tray, a cup of water, and a small photo. She walked toward him, her face caught between sorrow and duty. I didn't want it to come to this, she whispered, setting the tray beside him. Noah's voice cracked. Where's Liam? She knelt. Safe, for now. Why did you take him? Why lie about everything? She held up the photo, a younger version of herself, standing beside Carter Huxley and Elise Monroe, Noah's mother. You don't understand what this is really about. Then help me, Noah said. Explain it to me, please. Her hands trembled as she slid the photo into his cuffed hands. Your mother and I, we were both part of the Founders Project. We thought we were building a new world for the poor. Until Carter took control, he twisted it, turned it into a power game. Noah's eyes narrowed. My mother worked with Carter. She built the system he now controls, the digital records, the donor pipeline, the manipulation of who receives aid and who doesn't. She believed she was saving lives until Carter started choosing who was worthy.
And Liam? Noah's voice cracked.
Evelyn looked away. Liam was born into that system. Your mother gave him away to protect him from Carter, but it was too late. Noah struggled against the cuffs. So you kidnapped him, lied to him, made him believe Carter is his father? She looked up, tears pooling. Because Carter is his father. Noah froze. What? Evelyn stood, but not in the way you think. Carter didn't love Amara. He took her against her will. Liam was the product of that horror. And your mother, Elise, helped cover it up to protect the family name. Carter had dirt on her, too. Noah stared at her, his face pale. You expect me to believe any of this? You'll believe it when you see Liam's DNA report, she replied, sliding a folder under the door. And when you meet the real person who raised you... He frowned. What do you mean? She leaned closer. Elise Monroe, wasn't your mother. She was your handler. Noah's heart stopped. Meanwhile, upstairs, Liam paced the hallway, fists clenched. Carter sat by the fireplace, reading the journal Liam's supposed mother had left behind. Tell me the truth, Liam demanded. Was she really my mom? Carter looked up. Yes, and she loved you deeply. But you hurt her, Liam said. Carter sighed. No, that's the story Evelyn wants you to believe. He handed Liam the journal. Page. Liam flipped through. The page had a torn corner, but the writing was clear. I can't run forever. If Carter finds out I'm hiding his child, he'll destroy me. But I'd rather die than let him turn Liam into one of them. Liam's hands shook. Why would she write that? Carter stood slowly. Because she was unstable. She stopped taking her meds. Started imagining conspiracies. She even tried to give you to a priest to be hidden by the light. Liam's mind spun in circles. So who's lying? A pause. Then Carter looked him dead in the eyes. Everyone. Back in the basement, Noah paced the small cell, finally unlocking the folder Evelyn had left. Inside, photos, birth certificates, and one document with a government seal. Subject, Noah Landon. Guardian, Dr. Elise Monroe. Mother, deceased. Classified handler status, level 7 operative. His hands trembled. A second file had an image of a woman, darker skinned, curly hair, a soft smile. Real mother, Dr. Naomi Glover. She had been a whistleblower and murdered. His mind reeled. Suddenly, the light bulb above him dimmed, then flickered out. Darkness swallowed him whole. Then, mechanical whirring. The wall slid open. A door hidden behind a shelf of crates. Noah stumbled to his feet, heart racing. As he walked through it, a voice echoed from a speaker. Welcome to the real archive, Noah. Let's see what your mother died for. At that same moment, Evelyn entered a secret chamber. Inside, dozens of monitors showed surveillance footage from across the country, charity shelters, churches, orphanages. Every face was tagged, tracked, sorted. Carter stepped in behind her. I told you not to show him the files. Evelyn didn't turn. He deserves the truth. He'll bring everything down, Carter said coldly. That's the point, she replied. He stepped forward. You still think he's the savior? No, she said softly. I think Liam is. Carter's expression hardened. Then we better prepare him. Evelyn looked back at the monitors. Liam stood outside the basement door, hesitating, about to step in. And as Liam descended the steps toward Noah, a siren blared. Red lights flashed. A robotic voice echoed, Code Black system breach, Vault 7, open. Carter turned sharply. Evelyn gasped. He found it. Liam froze mid-step. What's Vault 7? Evelyn whispered, the place where the first project failed, where everything began. Noah, down below, stepped into a room filled with hundreds of cryopods. And inside the first pod was a woman, alive, eyes fluttering open. And she looked exactly like Liam. Noah gasped. Naomi? The woman opened her mouth and whispered, don't trust Evelyn. Noah took a slow step toward the pod, his breath fogging the glass. The woman's eyes half-lidded, faintly glowing, followed his every move. Her whisper had frozen his blood. Don't trust Evelyn. But you're Naomi, he said, voice cracking. Her lips curled into a faint, tired smile. They told you I died, didn't they? Noah swallowed hard. Yes. Everyone, Evelyn, Carter. They said you were a whistleblower. That... She closed her eyes for a moment. They tried to kill me. Evelyn did. The words slammed into Noah's chest like a battering ram. No, that can't be. She's been helping me, helping Liam. She brought me here. Naomi's voice was weak but steady. Did she show you the room of monitors? Noah nodded slowly. She's not just part of the system. She built it, code by code, camera by camera. I designed the ethics. Evelyn designed the control. He stepped back. Why would she help me now? Naomi coughed and the chamber hissed. A robotic arm injected a clear fluid into the IV attached to her arm. Her breathing steadied. She's not helping you. She's testing you. Noah's fists clenched. For what? Naomi's eyes flicked open again, sharper now. For him. For Liam. She's preparing him to replace Carter. What? She needs a new puppet, she whispered. Someone the public will trust. Young, clean, innocent. Noah's heart thudded like a war drum. But Liam would never... She's already rewriting his memories, feeding him half-truths, just like Carter did to me. Meanwhile, Liam stood alone in the dark hallway above. Evelyn watching him silently from behind a two-way mirror. The boy was trembling. He had heard the alarms, the whispers, and now the lie. Everything around him was crumbling, his memories, his identity, his trust in Evelyn. He clenched his fists and turned toward the stairwell, heading toward the basement vault. But as he reached for the door, it burst open. Noah, eyes wild, breathing hard. "She's alive, Liam," he gasped. "Who?" "Your mother, Naomi." Liam froze. "That's not possible." Evelyn said, "I saw her, spoke to her. She said Evelyn tried to kill her." Liam staggered back, mouth opening, then closing. Noah stepped closer. "She's not who she says she is. Neither is Carter. You've been trapped in their game since birth." Liam's voice came out in a whisper. "Why would they lie to me?" "Because you're their last hope of control." Elsewhere, Carter stood inside a sealed chamber labeled Control Core. Monitors blinked all around him, hundreds of data streams flowing across the screen. Facial recognition, scans, social media triggers, medical history, and one large red dot blinking over Vault 7. He turned to Evelyn, who entered silently. "They know." She nodded. "You should have destroyed Naomi when I told you to." Evelyn crossed her arms. "And lose the only person who could bring the system down from within? No, I'd rather use her." Carter's eyes narrowed. "You're playing both sides." "I always have," she said coldly. Back at Vault's, Naomi sat up slowly, supported by robotic arms. Her strength was returning faster than the medics expected. "You need to understand something, boys," she said, voice calm but commanding. "What's coming is bigger than either of you." Noah glanced at Liam, whose face was pale with shock. Naomi continued. "The system they built, it wasn't just about food and aid, it's about control, emotional manipulation, predictive algorithms. They didn't just monitor the poor, they conditioned them." Liam stumbled back, horror washing over his face. Naomi looked at him, then at Noah. "You two are the only ones who can break the cycle." Noah frowned. "Why us?" Naomi hesitated, then said slowly, "Because you're brothers." The air thickened. Liam gasped. "What?" Naomi nodded. "Different mothers. Same father." "Carter?" they said in unison. Naomi looked down. "No." "Then who?" Before she could answer, the room shook. Lights flickered. A loud hiss. The vault's emergency lock snapped shut. Lockdown initiated. An automated voice echoed. "Level 10 protocol engaged. External threat detected. Biohazard us active." Naomi turned to the screen, and her face went pale. On the monitor outside, masked figures in black, wielding weapons, stormed the compound. Noah whispered, "Who are they?" Naomi's voice was trembling now. "They're not Carter's men, and they're not from Evelyn." Liam asked, "Then who?" Naomi whispered, "They're here for you." The sirens wailed louder now. Red strobe lights pulsed against the sterile white walls as Noah, Liam, and Naomi huddled inside Vault 7, their breaths ragged, their bodies tensed like coiled springs. Outside the vault door, bootsteps thundered. Not the hurried clatter of security personnel, but slow, synchronized, deliberate. Whoever these masked intruders were, they weren't storming in. They were waiting, watching. Naomi stared at the monitor in disbelief. "They're not part of any faction I know," she whispered, sweat beading on her brow. Their suits, military grade, but untagged. No insignias, no IDs, that's not protocol. Noah squinted at the screen. The masked men stood eerily still outside Vault 7, heads tilted slightly as if they were listening or scanning. Then one of them raised a hand. The red light blinked in his palm. Scan complete. Match found, subject Liam Walters. Liam's jaw dropped. "Why are they scanning me?" Naomi's hands flew over the terminal keyboard. "They're not just here to capture you," she murmured, fear rising in her voice. "They came to extract you." Noah stepped forward. "Extract? Like kidnapping?" "No," Naomi said grimly. "More like retrieval." She turned to him, eyes wide. "I think Liam was planted here. By them. 15 years ago. A cold operating room. A crying baby. And two women, one screaming in pain, the other watching silently from a darkened window. The baby is handed not to the mother, but to a man in a long gray coat. He walks away, disappearing into the shadows. A second baby cries moments later. Twins? No, not quite. One boy was born. One was delivered. From another mother, another place. Present day. Liam backed away from Naomi, horror etched on his face. "You're saying I'm not even yours?" Naomi looked pained. They gave you to me when Carter refused to raise you, said it was for optics. That having a second child would humanize the project, but I wasn't allowed to question your origins. They locked your medical files. Your neural data had security protocols even I couldn't access. Liam's voice cracked. I'm not even part of this family. Noah stepped forward. Liam, whatever you are, wherever you came from, it doesn't change the fact that you're good. You saved lives. You spoke up for the voiceless. You chose truth over comfort. Liam blinked, torn. I don't know what I am anymore. Suddenly, a mechanical hiss. All eyes snapped to the vault door. The lock had disengaged. The door creaked open just an inch. A note slid through. Noah picked it up with trembling fingers. It was a photo of Liam as a baby, but not in any place they recognized. Behind him was a symbol, a triangular emblem surrounded by cryptic runes. Underneath, in crude handwriting, Project Nexus, Subject 013. Naomi went white. I've seen that name before, she whispered, in the old lab archives. Project Nexus was shut down for unethical experimentation. Liam looked down at his arms as if something alien might emerge from his skin. Am I an experiment? Before anyone could answer, the vault lights died. Total darkness. A moment of silence. Then a voice. Robotic. Cold. Familiar. Liam Walters. Activation pending. Noah shouted, "Who's there?" Suddenly, a blinding white light filled the room and Liam collapsed, convulsing. His eyes rolled back. From his mouth, a voice not his own spoke. Phase 1 complete. Directive accepted. Naomi gasped. They've triggered him. Outside, the masked intruders finally stepped forward. One of them whispered into a comm. Asset activated. Prepare for phase 2. Another replied. And the brother? The leader's voice was chilling. Terminate if he resists. The cold white light still hovered, pulsing like the beat of a mechanical heart. Naomi crouched beside Liam, whose body twitched violently, his limbs jerking as if controlled by invisible strings. Noah clutched his brother's shoulders. Liam, can you hear me? Stay with me. But the voice that answered wasn't Liam's. All parameters met. Host identity suppressed. Control interface active. Then Liam sat up, eyes blank, movements sharp, artificial. Naomi stepped back, her voice trembling. They've hijacked him, his entire nervous system. This is remote neural override. We theorized about it years ago, but I never thought it would work. Noah spun around. Fix it. Undo it. Shut the connection down. I can't, Naomi shouted, tears welling in her eyes. He's not on our system anymore. He's on theirs. A static crackle hissed from the broken vault speaker above them, and a distorted voice filtered through. Male, calm. Hello, Naomi. It's been a long time.
Naomi froze.
Her lips parted in stunned recognition. Carter? Noah stared at her. Dead? She shook her head slowly. No, he's dead. I watched him die. I bury his ashes. The voice laughed softly, mockingly. Did you really think a mind like mine would go quietly? I left breadcrumbs for you, Naomi. Vault 7 was never about secrets. It was about witnesses. And now you've brought them our son and the clone. Noah's stomach dropped. Clone? Naomi collapsed to her knees. Oh my God. The camera feed on the monitor flickered. A new image popped up. A child, barely 2 years old. A perfect replica of Liam, standing in a sterile room, surrounded by scientists in masks. And beside him, a teenager, Noah. The file was labeled Nexus 013, primary clone sequence, host Noah Walters. Noah's heart thundered. I'm the clone? Carter's voice returned, colder now. 2 sons, one engineered for obedience, the other for defiance. I created you both, but only one will survive. The vault doors creaked again. This time, they opened fully. The masked men stepped inside. But it wasn't just them. Behind them stood Carter.
Alive, unaged.
Eyes like glass. Liam, still entranced, stood and walked to his side like a loyal machine to its maker. Naomi covered her mouth. No. Carter smiled and placed a hand on Liam's shoulder. You chose him, Naomi. You let him into your heart. But he was never yours. Noah trembled, tears streaking his face. You used us. You made us. Yes, Carter said. And now, you must choose again. He raised a small black device with 2 buttons. Blue, Liam lives, but you die. Red, you live. Liam resets. No delay, no tricks, just choice. The room spun around Noah. His ears rang. His legs felt weak. Why? Why do this? Carter tilted his head. Because free will is the final experiment. And then he tossed the device toward Noah. It landed with a clink. 2 buttons. 1 life. 1 death. A timer began counting down. 9. Noah looked at Liam, his brother now hollow. He looked at Naomi, shaking broken. And then he stared at Carter, his father, his creator, his destroyer. True. Noah reached for the button. But then a gunshot rang out. Carter stumbled back, clutching his chest. Everyone turned. In the shadows stood the poor child from the diner. Older, farcer, holding a smoking gun and wearing a pendant with the Nexus symbol. The sound of the gunshot hung in the air like thunder after a storm, echoing through the cold, metallic walls of Vault 7. Carter staggered backward, crimson blooming across his chest, his expression twisted, not in pain, but in disbelief. He reached out to steady himself, hand grasping nothing but the thin air. Impossible, he whispered, falling to his knees. The boy, now unmistakably older, stepped out from the shadows. His eyes burned with a quiet fire. He looked at Noah, at Naomi, then finally at Liam, and he spoke. His name was Ethan. He gave me food when the world gave me nothing. Noah stared at the boy, breathless. Ethan was my brother, the boy said. The one who worked as a waiter. Fired. Humiliated. You don't remember because your lives were separate. But his act of kindness that day cost him everything. They erased him. The same way they erased all of us. Naomi's mouth trembled. You're one of the first test subjects. The Nexus Alpha series. The boy nodded. I escaped. Barely. Lived on scraps. Watched your experiments from afar. I've waited years to return to end him. Carter coughed violently, blood pooling at his lips. But even then, he smirked. You think killing me ends this? There are hundreds of vaults, thousands of copies. I've already won. The boy stepped forward and knelt beside Carter. His voice dropped to a whisper. You forgot the most important variable, Doctor. Compassion. It doesn't obey algorithms. And with that, Carter's breath slowed, then stopped. Silence returned. Liam collapsed to the ground with a thud, unconscious as the neural override faded. Noah rushed to his side, cradling him like a fallen soldier. He's breathing, Naomi said, touching his pulse. We have time. The boy turned, slipping the gun into his coat. I disabled the other vault links. For now, you'll need to finish the work. Noah rose, still dazed. Why help us? The boy paused at the door. The flickering light cast a soft glow over his features. Because someone once broke the rules to feed me. And now I break the system to feed hope. 1 week later, the government had no choice but to open an inquiry. Vault 7's footage leaked. The illegal experiments, the cloning programs, the neural overrides, everything. Protests erupted. News anchors debated ethics and accountability. But amidst the noise, one clip went viral. Ethan, the fired waiter, handing a foil-wrapped sandwich to a little boy in tattered clothes. One act of kindness. That's how it all started. Naomi resigned from the Institute and formed a non-profit project, Ethan Ethical Technologies for Humanity and Nurture. Noah and Liam, now fully recovered, moved far away from the city. They planted trees, built shelters, lived honestly. The boy? No one saw him again. Some say he was arrested. Others say he disappeared into the forests. But one thing was certain. He left behind a note, pinned to a cracked vault wall. Compassion isn't weakness, it's resistance. In a world where cruelty is systemized, kindness is the rebellion. Ethan. The end. What would you have done if you were in Ethan's place? Do you think compassion can still change a corrupt system? Share your thoughts and lessons in the comments. Let's reflect together.